All right, our next tutorial, we're just going to do a quick run through of the features of Biostar 2. We'll run through the actual user programming in a separate video just because it involves an extra step. So we're just going to go ahead and start with just a quick overview of Biostar 2. You'll log into Biostar 2 using the credentials that you created during training. Oh, looks like we need to upgrade a device so that it works properly. So we're going to go ahead and do that first real quick. Oh, there we go. It disconnected because it reset after the update. So we'll go ahead and acknowledge that alarm. You'll see here that the upgrade was successful. All right, now when you first log into Biostar 2, this is going to give you a snapshot of what's happening on the property. If you see a lot of these access denieds, typically that's your invalid access group. That means somebody's trying to access an area that they have not been granted permission to access. Typically, you're going to see a lot of those for the residents trying to access amenity spaces after hours and whatnot. So let's start here at the top here under settings. Now in these I'm going to zoom out here just so we can get everything kind of on the screen. All right, here we go. All right, account, you won't need to do anything there. Preferences, nothing there. Cloud, I don't want you really doing anything in here. The only thing that you'll need to touch under the settings is a schedule. Okay, so now earlier today I was asked to create a schedule, so we're going to go ahead and add a schedule here now. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and add schedule. This is going to be resident access times. So now we want the residents to be able to access the amenity spaces starting at 7 a.m. So that'll be 7. And we don't want them in after 10 p.m. So everything in here is going to be on a 24-hour clock. So you'll have to put in 2200 for 10 p.m. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. So now I've done that for Sunday. Now what I want to do is I want to copy that down so all days. So what I'll do there is just click this plus sign. So now 7 days a week the residents have access to the amenity spaces from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Now under description I want you to label it something logical. Typically what I do is I'll put resident access 7 a.m. 10 p.m. That way we don't have to go back and go back into this section to find out what those times are set at or anything like that. It's just really easy to give you a quick snapshot of what's going on. Now, just like anything in the software, you must click apply before leaving the page. If you don't click apply, none of this information will save and you'll end up having to go back and do it again. So now we're going to go ahead and click apply. And now you'll see here resident access times does show up in that time slot there. All right, so again, that's really the only thing that you guys are going to have to do in settings. I don't really want you anywhere else in this menu other than schedule. All right, let's go back to the dashboard. This just kind of tells us what's going on. Guy Nelson, access denied. Apparently he doesn't have access to that gate receiver. So this is again just a snapshot. You can access any of these menus here on the left by also clicking these icons here. So now the next step is going to be user. This is going to give you a snapshot of all of your users on the property, and it'll tell you your group, which is you've got employee access group, you've got employee unrestricted, city of Santa Ana. The city of Santa Ana ones you never want to change. Those are for the Knox boxes throughout the property for fire department access in the event of an emergency. So you want to make sure that those never get touched, deleted, or anything. So you'll see we have an employee group. This is everybody in the employee group. You got a resident group. This is everybody there. Um, when you're naming residents, make sure you do something like you see here, the 106 204. Put the unit number before it. Believe it or not, it does help in the event that we have to go back and repair the database. It really gives us a good idea. The ability to quickly go back and repair things should something get broken. So here you've got your vendor tab. This is all your vendors on the property. So now what we want to do is we'll look at devices. Now your devices are all of your readers and relay devices on the property. And as scrolling down here, you'll see that everything is good. Everything looks connected. If a reader is offline or not operating properly, you can always go to this menu and see. If it's offline and not connected to the server, you will see a red icon right next to that reader, and it'll tell you that we have a connectivity issue, be it network or power or something of that nature. So that's kind of what you want to look at first in troubleshooting if a reader is unresponsive. All right, next is your doors. Your door menu is where we configure the door open times, all of that good stuff. You'll see a list of all your doors here on the left-hand side. That list is also here in the center box here. Let's just go ahead and click on one just so I can show you. All right, now all of this stuff is configured for you. If you want to change the name, okay, great, I'm okay with that. Under configuration, don't mess with anything here. Changing anything here will cause the door to not work properly. So we want to make sure that we don't do anything in this section. One thing down here in the option that you may want to adjust is the door open time. Typically, we have them set at 3 to 5 seconds because usually that's enough time for somebody to swipe the key fob and pull the door open. In some kind of heavier traffic areas, you might want that a little bit longer. So if somebody's got groceries, they set them down, swipe their key fob, pick their groceries back up. We really don't want to go too long on these because the longer they're open, the less secure the building is. So we want to be real mindful of that. Okay, zones. So under zones, if you wanted to create a scheduled unlock time like we did on the lobby south doors, this is how you would do that. You would click the scheduled unlock, and what we could do is we could add a new zone. And then we could select the scheduled lock, scheduled unlock, intrusion. So we'll just run through a scheduled unlock real quick. So what you'll do is you'll name the unlock. I'm just going to put test. You're going to select the door that you want to unlock during this time. And now you'll click select the schedule that you've chosen, that you want that door to automatically unlock, whether it be business hours or if you've created a schedule of your own, this is where you would do that. Now once you're done, you'd go ahead and click apply, and you would see it pop up in the menu before. We're not going to do that for the training video, but I just wanted to show you how that was done. Access control, nothing really to do here for you guys. This can all be taken care of. Actually, there is something here. So what we would do here is the access levels, user group, and that kind of thing. So if you ever wanted to change the schedule of an access group, so now we've got all the residents in there, you would go ahead and click the access level, and that'll bring up this side menu, and you could change. We can select all doors always, or we can select a few of the doors for the resident access times, and I'll go ahead and take care of that later, but I just did want to make sure that you understood how to do this. You can do it door by door, or you can do a group of doors to where all the perimeter doors the residents can get in all the time. All of the amenity spaces they can only access during the prescribed times that we've already set up. So I'll go ahead and take care of that later, but I just wanted you to see how to do that. Monitoring. The monitoring section is a really useful tool. So say you wanted to find out who was in a certain area at what time. So what you would do is on your event log here, You can see there. Now I want to know who has accessed the business center, let's just say, during the last week. Okay, you're going to see all the activity for that door. Now, say I want to also include the reader. Typically, you're going to want to include that reader in the selection. And we'll see here. Scroll down. Oh, there we go. L2CR1. So we'll do that condition and delete that. So now this is going to tell you who has been accessing the business center and at what times. This is really useful in, if there was damage to a certain area or something was broken or stolen, we could use this as the starting point to go look at the surveillance to pull the footage. Just to tell us who was where. And it's also another good way to be able to report, who was in a certain area. If you wanted to export this list, you would click this icon here and click CSV export. That'll export it to a CSV file, and you can pass that along to the authorities or whoever you need to, for any reporting issues. Now, if you wanted to open doors for, again, maybe a grand opening party or something of that nature, what you would do is you would go ahead and select the door, and then you would click manual unlock. Now, when you do manual unlock, what you need to remember is that it will not reset until you release. You need to release that manual unlock to get it to go back to its normal schedule. So I don't advise doing this all the time for special occasions, for, like I said, grand opening parties, any kind of events. It may come in handy, but again, I don't recommend doing it all the time. So if you wanted to unlock the doors, you click manual unlock. But in order to get them to go back to the schedule, you need to click release. Okay, just remember that. Anytime you click here, you have to click here. If you wanted to open it just for the prescribed time, the 10 seconds or 5 seconds or 3 seconds, whatever we have it set to, you would select that individual door and click open. Now, when you click open, what it does is it will only open for the time the door is programmed to. So time and attendance, we're not using that on this property. These readers can be used as a time clock of sorts, so you could clock in and clock out using the readers, but we are not using it on this property. But there's the general settings for Biostar 2. Again, we'll go over the user programming in a separate video. I just wanted to go over each tab with you and kind of show you what each one did.